everybody, welcome to episode 40 of the Inspired Knitting Podcast. I am your host, Bobby, and I am coming to you from New Brunswick, Canada. Today is Sunday, March the 17th, 2019. I would first like to start the podcast off by welcoming any new viewers who may be tuning in for the very first time. Welcome. And to returning viewers, welcome back. This is a podcast mostly about my knitting adventures, and sometimes there's a little bit of crochet and sewing. So yeah, if that's your thing, this is definitely the podcast for you. Okay, so I would first like to start off with a slight announcement. There's going to be a little bit of a change. I usually rattle off where you can find me on the interwebs. So instead of just rattling it off, you can just click the description box below and you can find all the information where you can find me on Instagram and Ravelry and how to contact me, all that fun stuff. And you can also find the show notes to the podcast as well. I sometimes forget to mention this, but down below, if you click the show more, you can actually see the whole list of show notes. So before I was posting them on my Ravelry group for the podcast. I don't think I'm going to do that anymore. I'm just going to do it here. It's a little bit easier for me. So anything that I talk about in the podcast, I will post it there. I will post the patterns, the designers, and I also put a direct link to the pattern where you can purchase it or find it on Ravelry. So it's all right down there, easy to find. I just wanted to throw that out there so you guys know. So yeah, slight announcement out of the way now. Secondly, I would like to wish everybody a happy St. Paddy's Day, because today is the day of celebration. And if you are Irish, I hope you're having a fantastic day. And if you're not Irish, you could celebrate too. I am part Irish, and not really any serious celebration going on here today, but yeah, if you are celebrating, I hope you are having a good one. And if you're not, well, I hope you're having a good Sunday. It is beautiful and sunny here in the Maritimes. Spring has definitely been in the air this past week. We have had temperatures definitely close to 10 Celsius, which I am loving. We did have a couple days of rain, which it was a bit of a downer, but the temperatures have been mild, so gotta love that. So yes, spirits are definitely rising. Okay, so I'm going to move on to what you come for, the fun stuff. I have 2 finished objects this week, or technically only 1, but I brought 2, because I don't think I shared it with you guys last time. So at the beginning of the year, I decided that I would like to do Amber from the Yarn Hoarder podcast. I would like to do her dishcloth challenge again. I did participate a little bit last year, but then I fell off track with it. So if you are not aware of the challenge, it's a year-long challenge that started January 1st and will end at the end of the year. And you can knit any dishcloth that you would wish. There's no minimum and there is no maximum either. You just knit all the dishcloths that you desire. So for myself, I decided that I was going to set a personal goal of 1 dishcloth a month. So I will first start off with showing this one, because I don't think I shared it. And I cannot remember the pattern name, but it is a free pattern I found on Ravelry. And you knit like these wedges, and then it's like short rows. It's like you're doing short rows. So you're creating these wedges here all the way around. And then I think I did 14 of them, I believe. But once you get it done, then you just seam up the side here, and it makes a circle. It's a really neat pattern. It's very simple and it's very mindless. A lot of fun. So I did that one. And then I just completed this one this morning. This was my February one, so as you can see, I'm already behind. No surprise there. But this one is Grandma's favorite dishcloth pattern. This is my go-to pattern. It's by PJ Allen, and it is a free pattern on Ravelry. So I'm doing the no holes version. The pattern has the option to do the little eyelet holes along the edges, like the border. I just like the look of it without, so yeah, that's what I did. So both of these dishcloths I knit out of Premier Yarns cotton, and I really love this cotton. I discovered it last summer, and I think that's when they came out with this line. I got it at my local Michael's store. I find that it's like a worsted cotton. I always use Burnett Handicrafter, and I find that this is slightly, it's not as thick, and I find this one a little bit nicer to work with. Like, it's a little bit easier on the hands to work with. So I'm not dissing Burnett Handicrafter cotton, but I'm just saying that I really do prefer the Premier yarns. So if you see this in your local store and are curious about it, I would highly recommend it. It is a nice cotton. So yeah, just my honest opinion. So yeah, there we go. There is that. That's the only thing that I managed to get done. I am still sticking to one of my other goals that I set for myself. I would like to be more monogamous with my knitting, just because a lot of the things that I have been knitting lately, they have been bigger patterns, so sweaters and shawls and stuff like that. So I find that new patterns come out, and I'm trying not to look on Instagram as much because that's where I get in trouble. But new patterns come out, and of course my basic instinct is buy the pattern and find the yarn and cast it on. That's still happening, believe me, but I'm trying to be better with it. So I do have numerous things on the go right now, but I'm trying to pick out 3 things. So the beginning of the week, I choose 3 main patterns that I would like to work on, and then I try to work on those only and finish them. So far it's been working. Progress is being made on things, and they're getting off my needles, which makes me super happy. So yes. Before I get any further, because I just thought of it, I forgot to say what I was wearing in case you were curious. I'm not going to take it off because I have trouble styling this one. This is my, oh my gosh, it's a cozy up knit shawl, my sister shawl. This is my sister shawl, which was the knit along from last year, and it is like a wrap style shawl, and it's 3 colors, and I absolutely love it. And the lacy zags, you gotta love lacy zags, guys. Just love it. So yeah, that's what I'm wearing. I still have a hard time knowing how to wear it exactly, but yeah, I just want to make sure that the lacy zags are at the front because they're so beautiful. Okay, that out of the way, I will move on to works in progress. So my one thing that I've been concentrating on the most is my Weekender by Andrea Mowry. So here's the pattern. I'm sure you guys have all seen it, but in case you haven't, it's this gorgeous, gorgeous sweater, and I have made significant progress on it. So first I will show you my bag. It is being housed in this super cute Knit Picks bag with kitties and yarn balls. This is like my favorite bag right now. And yeah, I love it. It's this perfect size too for my sweater. So I was hoping that I was going to get the body of it done for this week's podcast, but that didn't happen. But that's okay, because I am super excited by what I have gotten done. So it's going to be a little bit awkward for me to show because it is so massive, but there is the body. And then I am now working on the front section of it. So you split here for the front and the back. So I'm not going to say how much I have to knit for because I don't want to give anything away, but I have a little bit more to go. And then once I'm done this part, then I can do the back and do some shoulder shaping and the top ribbing. And then I will be officially done the body. And then I can put the sleeves on it and I can wear it. So excited. So yeah, there it is. I did do the split hem. The sweater does come with split hems. So I did those. And I ended up knitting mine double the length that was in the pattern. Some people were saying that they were running a little on the short side. So I decided, I sit all the time anyway, but I didn't want to knit the whole sweater and then find out that it was on the short side because I like them longer. But that's what I did there. And the other modification, I talked about this in the last podcast, is the sweater is supposed to be worn inside out. You do knit it right side out, so you're just knitting in the round. But then when it's done, you flip it inside out and you have this beautiful faux seam. I still have my stitch marker in where it's supposed to be, but the faux seam comes up on the front and there's another one at the back. And I've honestly been struggling. I decided not to put it in, so I would wear my sweater right side facing, just as you see it here. But I would still have like the ribbing at the top, so I would just have pretty much the shape of the sweater and the ribbing. I've just been struggling a little bit because I see the girls at Cozy Up, they all have their weekenders, and I'm seeing other ones and they all have that faux seam, and it does look so cute. I'm just not sure I would wear it that way, so I'm struggling. I don't know what to do yet. If I decided that I was going to wear it inside out, I would just probably pull, because I still have it marked, I would pull that one stitch all the way down and then do that slip stitch pattern up. I've done it before. It sounds scary, but it's not that bad. But I don't know yet. I don't know what to do. So anyways, I guess I'll have to decide soon, won't I? But regardless, here it is. The yarn that I'm using is Barocco Vintage and the Black Currant colorway. And I love it. So I spoke more on this on last week's podcast, but I did do a gauge swatch for this sweater when I first started. And it uses a couple different needle sizes. There's a smaller size for the ribbing, and then I think you cast on with a smaller needle for the cast on edge, small next size up for the ribbing, and then you go up to a 5.5 for the body of the sweater. It is a worsted sweater. However, when I gauge swatched for it, I found that for the main body of the sweater, a 5.5 or a 5 was creating too loose of a fabric for my liking. So what I chose to do was a 4mm for the ribbing, and I did a 4.5 for the body. And I really like the material that I am getting, and I think I'm still getting gauge with the 4.5, so I just decided to go for that. So I don't think I'm going to have issues with it fitting. I think it's going to be more than fine. It might actually end up on the bigger side. I don't know. If it does, I'm okay with that. This is technically the first sweater I am knitting for myself, so I'm not 100% sure what size to knit for myself. I have looked on the pattern, and I think the 3X is going to be my size. This sweater does come with positive ease as well, so I think it's going to be just fine, but I'm curious as to whether I can actually go down a size or two. I normally wear my things baggy, not too baggy, but I like bigger things, so I don't know, but Either way, I just can't wait for this sweater to be done because I think it's going to be one that I wear a lot and might actually knit again too. So, Weekender, Andrea Mowry. Highly recommend this pattern. I'm getting all caught up here. And I can't leave any yarn sticking out because the beautiful kitty is here with me. And she is looking at the yarn, wondering when she can attack it and eat it. Okay, so we got that out of the way. The next thing that I've been working on is my Cowboys and Angels shawl, which is a pattern by Isabel Kramer. And I just am in love with this pattern as well. It is in a Made by Me project bag, which if you would like to make one of these drawstring bags, I will have the link below. It's the Easy Drawstring Bag by Erica Arnott. I don't know how to pronounce her name correctly. I do apologize. But I will link it below. She has a wonderful, easy to follow tutorial on how to design this bag. She has another one for, I think she has one for a zipper bag as well, a tote bag, and I just saw this week and I am so excited. She is showing how to make a DPN and also a circular pouch. I'm calling it a pouch. I know that's not the correct term for it, but it's one of the fold up ones, or it closes when you wrap the ribbon around it, and it stores all your DPNs in it. And then the second one is for your cable needles. So she just came out with that tutorial this past week and I am super excited about it. I am actually wanting to give that a go because I would like a place for my my circulars. I currently have, I've always struggled with my needles, total sidebar here, but I've always struggled with my needles storage, and I was keeping them in a big like Rubbermaid, and then I moved to, it's a little 3-drawer thing. It's another little Rubbermaid thing. It's got the 3 drawers in it, and it just sits on my desk that I work at. And the top level, it has all my stitch markers in it. The second level has all my needle tips in it. And then the third level has my cable needles in. So right now it's actually perfect. It's working for me. The only downside is I have so many cables that when you open that drawer, it's just like poof, it all wants to come out. And yeah, when you take one out, you kind of got to take them all out to find the size that you need. So I'm kind of wanting to find a better system for that. So I might actually try this tutorial. So you might be seeing that. I don't know. Depends how talented I am. But anyways, housed in a Made by Me bag is my Cowboys and Angels shawl. And I got a little bit of progress done on this, not too much. So it is a triangular worsted shawl. So last time I shared this with you guys, I had this top trellis part done. And now I have this, I never know how to show this to you guys properly. I now have this bottom section done. So I did the garters and the baubles. Isn't that pretty? So I did the bauble section here. And now I am down into the body of the shawl. So I have to do this for so many rows. And then we have another section of trellis and baubles. And then I think it ends in ribbing, if I remember correctly. But that's what I have so far. I am loving the shawl and I can't wait for it to be done. I am knitting this on 4.5mm needles. And the yarn I am using is Broco Vintage in the Forest Floor colorway, which is a beautiful heathered olivey green. And I love it. It's so pretty. So this is another pattern that I would highly recommend. The trellis pattern is not hard to do. It does look intimidating, but it's actually not that hard. It's just something that you have to concentrate on, and yeah, super worth it in the end because it's so pretty. So there is that one. And okay, what do we have next? Okay, so I have another shawl that I picked out to work on this week, and it is, oh, wrong bag. It is my Chrissy shawl. Now, I have not showed this one to you guys yet. I don't remember when I casted this on. It might have been in February. Don't quite remember now, but I had casted the shawl on, and I just got like the top section done on it, and then I set it aside. But I now have a significant amount done. I now have one more section to do, I believe, and I've got it done. So pretty excited about that. So this is the Chrissy shawl by Cozy Up Knits. And I'm going to first start off with the yarn that I'm using. So we have Cascade Heritage. This is in the mustard colorway. Forgive my ball because my ball winder lately has been kind of messing up the cakes, but yeah. This is in the mustard colorway, or it's a colorway 5652. So there you go. So there's that one, and then this one here, I could not resist casting the shawl on. For one, I was wanting to do it ever since last spring, I think it was, when the pattern was released. Been wanting to do the shawl since then, and then I was doing like a little mini cleanup of my yarn shelf, and I saw this yarn, and I had no choice. I had to cast it on. So I am matching it with this beautiful yarn here. And this is Lay Family Yarns, and it is in the Rose Garden colorway. It's an 80% superwash merino, 10% cashmere, and 10% nylon. Oh my god, I just love this colorway. So here's the tag. I absolutely adore Kelly's yarn, and I would really love to get some more. Focus. Okay. There we go. So I really highly recommend her yarn. I just love all her colorways. They are so beautiful. So without further ado, here is what I have so far. So yeah, how pretty is that? Oh my gosh. It is a crescent shaped shawl, and it is written for DK weight and fingering, so I decided to do the fingering weight version. So pretty much, as you can see up here, can you see that? Yes, you can. I started off this this pattern using Kelly's yarn, the Rose Garden, and I wanted it to be soft and subtle, so I just decided to use white to do this part here where the mustard is. So they're like short rows, and I was going to do the white, but as I started to do that first section here, you can't really see it. You can and you can't. And as I got done that section there, I started questioning, you know, I want it to be subtle. I don't want it to take too much away from this beautiful color, but I also want you to be able to see it as well. So I decided this was Cascade Heritage as well, just in like the white colorway, I believe. So I had this mustard color, and I wasn't sure about it at first, but I think it's okay. I don't mind it at all. It's still subtle enough, and I think it matches okay. But yeah, I didn't rip that back out. I kind of didn't have the heart to, because I got the lace part done here and I didn't really want to rip it back. So I just left it in there. It's okay. So that's what I have done so far. It's actually a very fast shawl. I'm surprised how fast that it works out. And it's one of those shawls that once you get one section done, like you do the garter, and then you got the lace, and then you got the short rows, you just want to get that section done to get on to the next. So I find it's very fast. It works up very, very fast. So that's what I got so far. One more section to go, and then I can actually block it and wear it. And I got my cute little teapot stitch marker. I am a little bit sad because when I put it away, I had the stitch marker on this stitch here, and it pulled, like, super stretched it out. So I'm hoping that when I go to wash it and block it, I can fix the stitch just a little bit so it's not so much of a hole. But that was super sad. Somehow the stitch marker ain't that heavy, but it was heavy enough to pull that stitch. So I'm going to have to try to fix that, and hopefully it won't be too much of a nuisance. But regardless, I really love this shawl and I cannot wait to wear it. I think it's going to be beautiful and just in time for spring. So for this one, I am using a 3.5 millimeter, right? Yes. Knitted Pride Zings. Again, I love them. So yeah, highly recommend the pattern. I believe that I will be making this pattern again, but I will probably be making the decay weight version. That was my original plan, and then, as I said, I saw this yarn and I really wanted to knit with Kelly's yarn because it was sitting there in my stash, and yeah, couldn't help myself. So there we go. That was the Chrissy shawl by Cozy Up Knits. And then I have one more project that I've been working on, and I know that I already have 3, but I needed a 4th. And this one I don't feel too bad about because those were my 3 big shawls and I needed something small to work on. Sometimes when watching a movie, I get too distracted, so I just need something that's plain knitting. Or if I go out, I want something that's plain knitting as well. My sweater is plain knitting, but sometimes it's too bulky to take out somewhere, or whatever the reason. So something I've been wanting to do is I see a lot of people are making scrappy socks with their mini skeins, and I've been really wanting to do that. So I didn't have any mini skeins, but I do have like a lot of leftovers, sock yarn and stuff. So I decided that I was going to pull out 3 colors that I really liked. So in the midst of cleaning up my yarn shelf, I saw these 3 colors and I needed to put them together. And if you were watching me last year, you would have already seen these colors because I attempted to put them together into my Suburban wrap, which unfortunately I frogged just because although the colors looked good together, the way that the wrap is done, I will show you in 1 second. I'm just trying to get the yarns untangled here. So when these 2 colors came together, although they're cute, I didn't really like the look of them together. So, like side by side, so I ended up frogging it. It just wasn't what I imagined it was going to be. So anyways, but I have decided that I was going to put these 3 together because I think they are the perfect combination and make a scrappy pair of socks. And that's what I'm doing. So first of all, this, I have more than that, but this is just some of the scraps from the suburban wrap I put together. This is Barnyard Knits in the Grasshopper colorway. And it's a little bit more vibrant than that, but there it is. And it is a superwash nylon blend. I don't remember the base. This is also Barnyard Knits, superwash merino and nylon. And this is in her Rosebud colorway. And this is one of my favorite speckles of all time. I just love it. It's so soft and pretty. And then I am using another one. Now, I have hoarded this for years. This is actually Woolen Vine Yarns, Kristen from the Woolen Vine podcast. This is actually one of her yarns, and it's on a gold speckle base. And if I remember correctly, this is in her poppy base. Now, this was a discontinued color that I bought 5 years ago or 6 years ago. Yeah, I've been hoarding it that long. I knew I wanted it to be for something special, and I just never found the thing to make it with. So finally I'm using it. Enough is enough. So yeah, it's like a peachy pink. Very pretty. It's tonaled. So yeah, those three together, and I decided to make my scrappy pair of socks. So here is what I have so far. So what I've done is I've casted on 56 stitches on a 2.25 millimeter needle. And I've done, the green is for my cuff. And this stripe here is actually where I stopped to put in my afterthought heel. You can actually see where I put my scrap yarn in here. And I was hoping that the green was going to be for the toe as well, so I could have cuffs, heels, and toes in the green. But something I didn't consider before starting was I'm doing 8 rows of color. So there's 8 rows of the rosebud, 8 rows of the pink, so on and so forth. And I'm putting the rosebud in between those two colors so they won't touch, because Bobby apparently has a problem with that. But I don't think I'm going to get the green for the toe. If I don't, the sock would probably end up too long if I did, and too short if I didn't. So I'm going to have to see. Might have to just end up doing the rosebud colorway for the toe, or the pink. It doesn't really matter, I guess, in the end. But regardless, I'm really having fun with these, and I really like how they're working out. So yeah, there they are. And I'm really loving the needles. Me and my friend kind of did an exchange of needles. She wanted me to try her Chagu DPNs, and I gave her a set of my Knitter's Pride carbons to try. So we kind of did a swap, and I really, really love the Chagus. I knitted with the circulars a long time ago, and I don't really remember how I felt about them. But now trying the DPNs, I definitely want to get some because they are metal needles, which I love. They have a little bit of a sharper tip on them than the carbons or the zings. I do love the zing DPNs as well. But they're just so weightless. You don't feel like you hardly have anything in your hands, and I really love that. So yeah, I really like those. So thank you, Shelby. I am loving them. So yeah, these are a 2.25 millimeter. Usually I've been doing a 2.0 for my socks, but the fabric's turning up a little bit looser than I would like, but I think it should still be okay. So anyways, there it is. So I've been having fun with that. This is mostly my TV knitting at nighttime that I've been doing. So maybe by next podcast I can have that sock done and maybe the next one started. I don't know. Just having fun with it. And I am not weaving in my ends as I go. So I'm not looking forward to that at the end, but oh, whatever. So that's it for the knitting this week. I did get a couple things for acquisition, but I did not bring them along with me. But it's nothing too interesting. So anyways, I'm going to end the podcast there. Again, you can find all the show notes listed below in the description box. And yeah, until next time, I hope you guys have a great week ahead of you. And bye. Love yous.